Okay, Shabbat Shalom. We're restarting the newsletter, and that is newsletter 5856-007, the seventh newsletter for the sacred year. And again, it opens with the prayer of repentance from Nehemiah 1, verses 5 to 11, and Nehemiah 9, verses 6 to 37. So I'll let you read that on your own time. Maybe during your prayer time, that would be a good time to read it. Personally, that's what I'm going to do on my personal prayer time. I'm going to read those two sections. So the online Shabbat meeting, it says it will be starting at 1 p.m., so in about an hour and a half. Actually, was that 2 hours and a half? 2 hours and a half. So I'm going to stop this stream before then, maybe half an hour before, just to give myself some time to maybe have a snack before, freshen up. So normally I do this stream sitting up in a chair. Today I've decided to do it in the comfort of my bed. It's nice and a different thing, for the Shabbat. Normally, during the 6 days of the week, I would do a stream sitting up and maybe not as comfortable and more rushed, whereas today I can take it a little easier and just really call the Shabbat a delight. So it's really, really happy to do it this way. Our new website. As we told you a few months ago, our website was crashing and becoming hard to negotiate or navigate. It was very overloaded. James has been working on this the past couple. So if you go to the website sightedmoon.com, you'll notice, if you were there, if you've been visiting for the past years, that it's a lot more sleek, a lot more it's improved a lot, and it's very good. So I had no complaints with the way it was before, but I'm very appreciative as to the work that's been put in, and it's very it's better. So thank you, James, for doing that. James has taken the old site and divided it into 3 sites to store all the archived newsletters on one site. Wow, that's great. I hope there's a way to download that. That'll be really good. Just a suggestion. If we can put all the newsletters into like a zip file instead of me downloading each one, individually, because that's eventually what I'm going to do. If there's no zip file, then I'll have to go through each one, and that was probably, what's that? Maybe hundreds. If he started this in 2005, somewhere around there, that's 10 years worth, over 10 years worth. So that's over 5. Said this, there is still a huge amount of work to be done. As James works on things I do not even know how to explain. James told me, but he might as well. If something doesn't come to pass, I forgot what it was specifically. I think it might be on Shavuot, but 2020 for so long, and specifically, the 120th Jubilee cycle and the middle of it, which is where we are right now, smack dab in the middle of it. I don't see a reason to take it down because we don't need any more proof, in my opinion. If the ultimate proof is the return of Yeshua or Yehoshua, to see him again, by that time it'll be too late. I think the website, everything that we've built, maybe not even there anymore at that point. So to be honest, I think you should just keep it, because what has happened thus far is evidence enough, I think, to prove that what he was preaching, what he has preached, and what he is preaching has come to fruition. A couple of men who decided to, they were, what were they saying? They were kind of telling their wives that, we can take labor pains, it's nothing. And then they went through the experiment, and as you could see from the thumbnail, they couldn't take even, a fraction of what the real pain is, because that's only simulated. They wouldn't crank it up to maximum because they probably would die from cardiac arrest or something. So anyway, that's just my opinion. I think he should keep it. Jehovah has shown just from the birth pangs, not that everything's going to be completed in 1 year, but unprecedented peace and prosperity that North America and most of the free world was enjoying and taking. And now that our world will never be the same again, now that a world of our relationship with our Father, there has to be whatever it was before, we have to hold on to Him because our lives depend on it. There's a sense of urgency that a lot of people try to instill into people, when it comes to preaching. I don't think that's, not that it's not needed, but if you're blind and deaf to what's happening, I'm sorry, but that's a sense of urgency right there. It's, if you aren't trying to prepare physically, if you aren't trying to prepare, especially spiritually, I mean, what else could I say to you? It's really, you have to open your eyes or ask the Father to open your eyes in regards to this thing. So anyway, that's a tangent I kind of went off on. So it says here, so please look around. Please look around and make note of those things you find that are not correct. We know of some that need to be changed and will be in time. But when you see something, send it in, and we will pass them to James to correct. Okay, I'm not sure what kind of things, because so far looks pretty good to me, unless there was maybe you're talking about a big mistake, like a broken link. And see something, send it in. Okay. We also want you to know that we have planned for the potential fall of the USA. Wow. Where GoDaddy is hosted and where sightedmoon.com used to be hosted. We have now moved our site to Asia in the hopes this move will keep us out of the reach of those who seek our demise. And by doing that, we hope we will be there during this coming time of trial upon the whole world for all of you. Yeah, I was hearing yesterday about how China and Russia are preparing to basically take out the power grid, and they've tested their methods and it has been effective. So it's within the power of the enemies of America to take out their power grid and use EMP, technology to take them out. And we don't know how long that would last for. When you look back at the plagues of Egypt that Jehovah had afflicted them with, one of the 7 was darkness for, I think, 3 days. Darkness that could be felt and was palpable. So maybe that a dual fulfillment would be the world going to darkness, specifically America going into darkness due to a power outage that, could last for who knows how long. So I mean, that's possible anyway. We want to be there for you online until the end of this age. Oh, great. I hope that confirms what I was talking about, that to keep their site up. We believe we are correct in our understanding of endgame events, and that we have already shown ourselves to be correct. Oh, great. That's good. But we still want the countdown clocks to run their course. Okay. I was going to change the most current one to reflect the time change from Shavuot, May 31 to May 3rd. The rest of the clocks seem to be right once a leap year is added next year. I will examine them all. I hope you enjoy the new site and all the work James has done. that many of you have helped to produce through your generous support over the years. So yeah, it's good. It looks like sightedmoon will be up and running until it can't run anymore, until we can no longer access the technology. So, Yah willing that He would enable us to stay connected. And I'm very thankful that He did allow us to come up with this technology of the internet and to stay connected, and not only through reading words, just like I'm reading over the newsletter, but to hear each other's voices, to see each other's faces. I mean, Jehovah knows what we need, and He created us to be social creatures. If that weren't true, then the 12 tribes of Israel and the way the system was, the way it was governed, the way the judges ruled, the way the plan of Jehovah, and all of its the way that it works, it wouldn't be set up in a way that there would be like a social interaction. But there's much social interaction, especially if you do observe the Shabbat, if you do observe His Moedim, you'll realize His commandment is not merely to not work and to worship Him. That's very important, but it's also to come together, to assemble. It's a holy convocation, a holy assembly, and we do what we can with the limited, uh, with what the reality is now. Although we can't physically gather, in the same room, but spiritually speaking, you know, if someone were to ask me, who am I talking to? I'm talking to those who are watching. Are we in the same room? No, but if we're in the same room, if someone was sitting next to me or across from me, and I'm talking to them the same words I'm doing now and looking at them, what's the difference? The only difference is they just can't touch me. Everything else is about the same. So that's the most important part of communication, and when it comes to face-to-face interaction, is being able to hear the message, and to a lot of people to see the person who's presenting, to hear their voice. It's not just what you say; it's how you say it, and um, just very thankful that we have this technology. We take a lot of things for granted. We've taken things for granted, the way our world was and how life was just a year ago or just a few months ago. And so let us not take this for granted either, because that can also be taken away very easily. So thanks be to Jehovah that we can do this right now. Okay. Next subtitle or heading is Labor Pains Have Begun. I am just not able to keep up with all the changes happening so fast. In just 3 weeks, the stock market has gone from one of the best of all times to one of the worst. The USA is finding out they are not impervious to what happens in the rest of the world. Many of you are learning that the things we have been telling you are happening exactly as we warned you they would, and at the times we said they would come. Stunning just how accurate the Jubilee cycles are. It's great. I mean, it's sad in a way that people are so true. It's comforting as well, because He tells us the end is a good one. Our end is assured with full confidence, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that the ending is the happiest that anyone can imagine. And that gives me a lot of hope and joy, because it's not hope misplaced, but I know in my heart, as much as I will not make a promise that I cannot keep. I will never make a promise that I cannot keep. And if I feel like I can't, I will do everything within my power, even to the point of death, to fulfill it, because that's how seriously I take it. So if me, a sinful person, a person that is fleshly, thinks that way, what more our Father in heaven, who is holy and set apart? Set apart, set apart, set apart. He's like triple holy. He's going to keep his promises big time. And not just keep them, because he says, I declare the beginning from the end. Whatever he says, it stands. Nothing can prevent it. So there you go, anyway. With many of the cruise ships proving to be floating petri dishes full of COVID-19, we should not be surprised to hear is aboard multiplied. They had 569 confirmed cases of the virus among the personnel, the active military personnel. That was up from 340 in less than a week. It's a small fraction of the force, but this case regarding the Roosevelt, it shows just how quickly a small problem can hamper one of the world's biggest warships. So they had evacuated the first 3 sailors, and then they projected that they would continue sailing. But that was a mistake. It says 2 days later, the carrier was sidelined indefinitely. So now there are 40 confirmed cases, according to the defense official who did not want to be identified. There are also reports that the USA has information that Iran was about to strike. But that is all the news reported about this. Yeah, there were rumors about that. But again, rumors of wars and then actual wars. I don't think Yeshua just meant there will be rumors of wars. Okay, nothing more. No, I think he meant exactly what he said. There will be rumors of wars, pestilences, great earthquakes, famines. And he said wars, and he said nation will rise up against nation. So that is different than rumors of wars. Rumors of wars and then nation will rise up against nation are 2 different things altogether. So yes, there will be wars, but I don't know. What do you do to prepare for wars? I think you stay close to Jehovah, and no matter what, he'll see you through. He'll provide a way, whatever that way is. He'll see us through those too, because it's working in tandem with what his plan is. Let's see. That is all the news reported. When I read this and think about the rest of the USA, the U.S. standing forces, and this disease spreading through them, I think about the curse of the sword about to come, and I cannot help but think of Jeremiah. So it's Jeremiah 6, 22 to 26. I will refer to it again, Jeremiah 6, 22 to 26, and Jeremiah 4, verses 6 to 9, and then 19. It says here, we have many more verses to consider here in this light. I also want to share what the trumpet.com shared this week, and that says, yet Hungarian President Viktor Orban effectively set himself up as a dictator yesterday. So now he has unlimited emergency powers for an unlimited amount of time. Wow. Anyone spreading information deemed false can go to jail for 5 years. That's enough to make him a dictator. But what did it take to give him these powers? Hungary had 450 cases of coronavirus and 15 deaths. So that's it, and then they made him a dictator. The opposition tried to put a time limit on the powers, but it was voted down. The only way those powers will be removed is if Orban himself gives them up, or maybe if he dies. Orban seems well down the road that Russian President Putin and Turkish Prime Minister Erdogan have already trod. So that was Hungary. What happens if Germany does this in the coming weeks as well? And let me not forget to mention what came out of Israel this week. Passover was canceled because of the plague. Isn't that ironic? Yeah, that is really funny. I think that I saw a meme. It says Passover is canceled due to plague. What? Passover is a plague. That's what happened during Passover, the 7 plagues. But the article told us something else they are planning. Oh, here we go. Due to health ministry restrictions relating to the coronavirus pandemic, the Sanhedrin was forced to cancel the Korban Pesach, Passover offering, reenactment for the first time in 9 years. As a result, the Sanhedrin is preparing for an actual sacrifice, fully consistent with biblical requirements, brought on the Temple Mount. Wait, isn't that going to start World War III? Why are they doing that? Brought on the Temple Mount. So, as far as I know, no Jew is allowed to even pray on the Temple Mount, not even pray. So, if they do a sacrifice consistent with biblical requirements, that's going to lead to some people getting mad. I won't say who they are, but I can put two and two together. And as well, the sacrificial system has been, well, specifically comes to animal sacrifice, that I think that's been done away with because Yeshua already fulfilled that, what that was symbolizing. Anyhow, it says here, the Sanhedrin has issued a formal request from the leaders of Israel and the U.S., or to them, to allow this to happen. There are many things that seem very unrelated, and yet, when looked at all together, they seem to be coming to a head this Shavuot. Whether that is on May 3rd or May 31st remains to be seen. And there's a scripture here for Isaiah 28, 17 to 23. Okay, so I'll let you read that in your own time. There's another one, Ezekiel 21, 3 to verses 3 to 17. And then again, Micah chapter 4, 8 to 12. 1 Thessalonians 5, verse 3. Thing is, if I read all these scriptures, I'll go over like 10 hours because this is a long newsletter. I did scan through it. It's quite lengthy. I will leave you with this. I know this message is heavy for some of you to bear. Others have known about it for many years and been silent. The time is now here. The time is now here. You know what? I've known about an inkling of it, not to the degree that I know now that Jehovah has opened my eyes to, and it's more specific and it's more tangible. It's more concrete. I can see where it's coming from and how it will happen. Whereas before it was more nebulous and it was really vague and not really, it was kind of cloudy and muddy as to how it would happen because it's all conceptual. Like, okay, Yeshua said this, or Book of Revelation says that, but I can't actually see where that would come from and how it would develop. But now it's almost clear as day, most of it, or the beginnings of it at least. Obviously, with the plague, with the famine, with the locusts, with the impending war, persecution of the believers, beheadings, all of that. It's just Europe becoming united Europe, one army. It's all just puzzle pieces coming together, and it won't make sense until they, start to glue or coalesce. Day of the third week of counting 7 weeks, so it's 20. It's been already 21 days. So that could be good or bad depending on your perspective. I think it's good because although this is a calamitous thing, to make the days go by in a way that we can appreciate them. And what am I trying to say is that a lot of people have been reflecting on just how their priorities have shifted. Whereas before it's more about their own personal life and just their own concerns and their work life and increasing their wealth and buying whatever they want. And now they're realizing, you know what? The most important thing in my life is actually the people that matter to me, is relationships. with family, relationships with their creator, or I should say the relationship with their creator, what gives them meaning. And really that's a relationship with our creator, and to keep that strong, we have to trust in him with all our heart, to love him with all our heart, with all our soul, our strength, all our mind. And the way we express that is by being obedient to him, by fearing him, respecting him. And that's really what's bigger than that, than seeking his kingdom first, that kingdom which will be established on his Torah, uh, and his righteousness, which an expression of is the Torah, spiritual Torah, and loving each other as not only as we love ourselves, but the way Yeshua loved us, which is even greater than the way we love ourselves. So, okay, I'm not gonna read all of that. Those are the Psalms that we would read. But you know what? It says your day 21. Read that one just because that is today's. So I'm gonna read that. That's Psalm 119. Let's do that. There, just find it. Psalm 119, and that's one. Read that just for the sake of. Actually, you know what? I should probably read it on my